welcome to Loddon Valley for the final time in the regular season as the hometown Reading Rockets face the Essex Rebels. Good afternoon, John Hobbs alongside Charlie Haynes, and it's been a while since we've been at Loddon Valley. It was the start of the month that it was Reading's last home game here, and Reading have battled on the road and they return home. No Adam Coxon today, but otherwise at full strength.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, thank you, John. It's certainly been a while. However, what an exciting game we have here. Two strong physical teams, and as you said, two teams in pretty good nick as well. Exciting players on both sides, and I'm very much looking forward to this one, John.
Let's look at the two teams very quickly before we start proceedings. Let's start with the visiting Essex Rebels, who will be going with Luke Bazumbru, Ben Winter, Joe Hart, Daniel Johnson-Thompson and Emmanuel Kenway. That's a very strong starting five for Essex, and a strong lineup overall. Their playoff spot has been secured. It's just a question of where they finish, whether they will finish fifth or even in the top four, which is a possibility.
Yeah, absolutely, John. And home court advantage is something that no team will turn their nose up at. That is something that everyone in the league will want, and Essex Rebels with a chance. But what an opponent they've got to come up with against today. Double trophy winners in Reading Rockets. But again, a strong Essex Rebels side that could certainly do a number here.
And let's head over to the Reading Rockets, of course. Mathematically could still finish as champions, even though Hemel need to lose today against the London Cavaliers. That game will tip off at 5 p.m. They will be starting with their usual starting five over the last month. Mitch Clark, Zane Porman, Victor Olorerin, Ty Nasangu and Justin Hopkins. It's a starting five that, for the later stage of the season, Semet Nurizadeh has liked.
Absolutely, and it's a five full of informed players. We know Victor Olorerin is an exciting one that the home fans certainly enjoy, and we love seeing Ty Nasangu live above the rim. But with players like Mitch Clark, Zane Porman, Justin Hopkins, so many different options there that Rockets can go to within their offense. So certainly a very exciting offensive five there for the Rockets.
There is your starting five confirmation. Mitch Clark, Zane Porman, Victor Olorerin, Ty Nasangu, Justin Hopkins for Reading, Luke Bazumbru, Ben Winter, Joe Hart, Daniel Johnson-Thompson, Emmanuel Kenway for the Essex Rebels. Our officials today, crew chief is David Griffin, umpires Silvadi Benz and Leroy Brown. Final regular season home game for the Rockets. It all started in the Kit King Trophy against the Worthing Thunder. It culminates here today against the Essex Rebels, and it's a sore subject and a very horrible subject to have to bring up, but at the same time there is light as well, because Essex Rebels have undergone the most immense and most difficult tragedy to speak of. But speaking to Ross Norfolk before this game, it's lifted the team to play better in memory of the deceased, and also they've played what he feels has been their best basketball of the season towards the end. And that's just, it's more than basketball, isn't it? It's a brotherhood with the Essex Rebels right now. They're playing for something bigger than basketball. They're playing for the memory and dedication of DJ Wall, TJ Hibbert.
Absolutely, and I will say it was something that hit the Rockets community very hard. Speaking to Chairman Gary Johnson before the game started, and actually it was something we were discussing, a very sad event that hit everyone very hard. I mean, Victor Olorerin and of course, as you were talking about before, wearing the initials on his shoes. But of course, Essex Rebels, what a team to be able to manage a setback like that and still manage to put on a proud performance on the floor.
Of course, Mikhail Bailey, Ava, Daryl Chakaya, as well as TJ Hibbert and DJ Wall, tragically losing their lives in early February. But Essex playing for them, and have done not just themselves but the University of Essex and all of Essex incredibly proud. And they get the first possession of the game, and Joe Hart will collect it along the baseline. Here is Bazumbru. Finds Hart. looking for Kenway, but unfortunately for them, it was picked up by Zane Porman, and Reading can get their first possession underway. Here is Porman. Porman backing down Hart. Hart all over him, and that will not count. Shot after the whistle. Crew chief, David Griffin in good position there. He had a very long night last night down in Surrey, did David Griffin, in that SLB game. Surrey against Cheshire. It was a near 2-hour game for him. Olarerin back iron with his 3. And here is Ben Winter. Bazumbu. Bazumbu a 3 from the top. Likes to shoot the 3 ball, does Bazumbu, but favours going in the open floor. Hopkins looks for Olarerin at the wing, puts up a 3 and knocks it down.
And you can't give Victor Olarerin that much space. Just sat off in there, Ben Winter, and Olarerin, a player that will take any opportunity to shoot. So got to at least force him into a dribble or pass.
First field goal of the game. Kenway. Emmanuel Kenway bumping on the Sangu. Good defense from Tyne Sangu. And Nsangu's pass deflected out of bounds by Joe Hart. Of course, Joe Hart himself, a former Great Britain international, and both at senior and junior level. Former Newcastle Eagles man. Here is Clark. Hopkins attacks the hoop. Nsangu can't hang on. There's 8 on the shot clock for Mitch Clark. Porman did well to collect, drives along the baseline. Olarerin a 3 on the buzzer. And an offensive rebound for Reading. And Porman makes it count the second time of asking.
And off that sideline inbound, Essex switched into a 2-3 zone, which caused Rockets problems, but didn't crash the boards. Rockets get a second chance. Easy points for Zane Porman.
5-0 in favour of the Rockets. Here is Hart. Kenway. Bazumbu a 3 again, and he makes it count this time.
Just as you said on the last possession he had. John, you clearly read a scout pretty well there, John, knowing he's going to shoot the 3 on the very next possession.
Well, Bazumbu in his days at Solent preferred to run it in the open floor. Wasn't known for his 3-point shooting back then. Certainly has worked on that in the off seasons as Nsangu inside. No, that won't count. He stepped out of bounds.
Yeah, nice from Tyne Nsangu to find the baseline behind the zone. It's a dangerous place to be when a defense is in a zone. You get just behind that back line, you force someone to help and you've got an open shot, but just heel out of bounds and cheap turnover.
Both Reading and Essex assured of playoff basketball come the end of the regular season. Here is Winter. Bazumbu thought about the 3, instead goes to the hoop, kicks it out to Winter. Shot clock winding down. Winter's got to put it up, a 3.
And Victor Olarerin lost his assignment on that possession. There was too much space for Winter and Hart on the left side of the floor, and they punish Reading for the defensive breakdown.
Here is Clark, decides to go for the 3. That's off the back iron. Joe Hart and Hopkins fighting for it. Hopkins on the floor, keeps it alive. Goes inside, too strong, and rebound taken by Daniel Johnson-Thompson. And here he is on the ball. Still has it. Kenway to Hart. Hart attacks the rack.
And lots of opportunities for Hart in the offense so far. They went to him in the first possession. They've looked to try and get him off some down screens and stagger screens early in this one. Try and get him some good looks at the 3 and at the rim.
Nsangu, good defense from Winter. Hopkins at the top, a 3.
Jabs, head fakes, and still decides to shoot. Defense giving a lot of space on the 3-point line at both ends of the floor at the minute.
Bazumbu doing what he does best.
Yeah, lovely finish there from Luke Bazumbu. We've seen him hit the outside ball and now gliding to the rim as well.
Part of that Solent Kestrel's dynasty from a couple of years ago before COVID hit. As Nsangu at the other end.
That's exactly what we're talking about, John. You find a way to force the back of the zone to help, and that baseline look is always there.
Buzumbru. Winter down Main Street, can't get it to fall. Masangu, the rebound here is Clark. Olarerin attacking, slicing. Can't get that one to drop either, and now Buzumbru in the open floor, and Ben Winter, easy room service.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a nice steal there for Essex to get out and transition quick, and you always take transition points early. Try and get some easy points on the board in the first quarter.
Porman playing against his former club today, alongside Victor Olarerin. Both were Essex Rebels players last season. But off with the three-pointer on that occasion. Emmanuel Canway's fouled by Nasangu.
Yeah, it's smart play to try and attack that matchup early. We know Nasangu can be a little bit prone to picking up early fouls, and he just unnecessarily reached on that one. He was strong on the last couple of possessions when he was posted up using his body, but just got a little bit loose with his hands, and it's a cheap foul for him to pick up. He's an important player as well, so Essex will probably look to try and continue to attack him inside and force Reading to go a bit smaller.
Ben Winter comes out, and Connor Nelson, who averages a shade under 16 points a game, comes in for the Rebels. Lewis Champion checking in as well for Porman. Buzumbru, beautiful pass inside to Buzumbru, who was on the cut.
Yep, lovely little set there just to get him an open look at the rim.
Hopkins inside.
And there's our first one, John. 2 hands for safety. Justin Hopkins with the hammer on the baseline.
Here is Hart, gets it back. Buzumbru, was a risky pass. It will stay with the Rebels. Olarerin right in Buzumbru's grill there. Ten on the shot clock for Essex. Buzumbru looks for Hart, finds him, catch and shoot, and he gets that one to roll. It was thinking about it, but it just spun in.
And we call that the Spain pick and roll, a cheeky little ball screen from the big, and you get a shooter to set a back screen and pop to the three-point line. So hard to defend.
You see a lot of the Spanish pick and roll now, don't you, in British basketball? As Clark looks to respond, no good. And on the follow, though, Hopkins gets bumped. He'll go to the foul line.
Yeah, and Canway now also picking up a personal foul. So the bigs on both sides with one each. So definitely be worth continuing to try and find a way to attack the big, especially while the Rebels are in this zone. You know there's always going to be a shot blocker around the rim. So the more you can force him to defend, and you've got that baseline option and load the corners, there's lots of different ways to score once you break that first line of defense.
Daniel Johnson-Thompson checks out. Kyron Martin comes in for the first time, as Hopkins makes the first. Kyron Martin, like Buzumbru, a former Solent Kestrels man himself. Solid three-point shooter as well, especially when in rhythm. Had a really successful junior career with the Croydon Cougars, so mentored by Paul Mundy Castle and Dwayne Martin. That's not a bad little lineup to be teached by, as Colin Nelson misses the three.
And if that is on, Ty Nasangu.
That'll be his second if it is, and it is.
And a great job from Canway there to really put the heat on him. We could see even on that last possession, when we saw the Joe Hart three ball, you could see Canway trying to bully his way to the rim and force Nasangu into defending as much contact as possible. And as a result, second personal foul, and he's going to have to go and sit on the bench.
And Simon Chamberlain will check in for Nasangu. Victor Olarerin also checks out, and Zeb Jasper comes in for the first time. A lot of time on the shot clock. Canway has it. Here is Buzumbru. And the steal from Clark, anticipating where that pick and roll was going. And now Hopkins in transition.
Yeah, easy one for Hopkins there. Essex didn't have a lot of choice of how to defend that. They were outnumbered, and Hopkins such a good player around the rim. But advantage is in favour of Rebels. 2-point lead and a timeout here just for head coach Norfolk. Just go over the game plan a little bit and try and find some solutions on the defensive end.
Yeah, Ross Norfolk has been so proud. We mentioned it at the top, how proud he's been of his players, and these guys, they're together every day. They train near enough every day. It's a really been a difficult season, but they have really pushed on and have played their best basketball. For the Rockets, though, it's still a very outside bet, but Hemel looking set to repeat as champions. They obviously lost it out a season ago to Derby, but it's been a really good season for Reading, and two trophies as well in the cabinet, and a possible third if they when the playoffs begin as well. It's been a really decent season for Samit Nurizade's men. Absolutely, and Samit Nurizade, as I can tell you, as someone that shares the office with him, is someone that takes it game by game, but every game is just important for him as the next. I had a really good conversation with him before the most recent final, and I said to him, how are you feeling? And he was like, fine, till the game. It's another game. Till the game starts, and then you could ask me the question. He takes every game the same, and I tell you, he hates losing. So, certainly have had a really good season, and I think the Rockets have done the fan base very proud this year, and hoping to continue that success. 3 minutes to go in the first period. Here is Bazumbru with Essex, slender 2-point advantage. Canway backing down Hopkins and gets that friendly drop, and there was a bit of a strength there, and Canway took full advantage. Yeah, and with Nasangu outside of the court, sitting on the bench, expect them to continue to try and get looks inside against various matchups as Rockets have to go a little bit smaller. Chamberlain along the baseline, Joe Hart with the rebound. Canway inside, and the foul by Lewis Champion. Actually quite a few ex-BBL and SLB players playing today. Obviously we mentioned Joe Hart earlier, and Lewis Champion, a former Bristol Flyers player as well, and a former GB junior alongside Hart. As Canway goes to the foul line, 22 points, 8 boards against Nottingham last week. Makes the first, followed that up with 27 and 12 on that Sunday against Bradford. Could see Rockets on that last defensive possession, John, trying to put some full court pressure on. That's to try and sort of put some more pressure on the guards and make it harder for the ball to be entered into the post to Canway, and you can see that's certainly something that they're trying to do. He's not blown up the score sheet just yet, but with this smaller lineup for Rockets, expect to see them continue to go to him as much as possible. Clark to Champion at the wing, 3, that's off. That zone causing problems for Rockets now, starting to struggle to find the looks they're after. Bazumbru straight to the hoop, but almost lost his footing, and Essex can reset that play as it came off Clark last. Bazumbru from Canway. Bazumbru to the hoop, beautifully done. And a timeout called this time by Samit Nurizade, and Essex have now raced out to a 22-15 lead. In that brief break of play, Essex going on a little spell here. Honestly, John, I think it's been really smart game plan from the Rebels. We talked about them going inside, but now they're also trying to get into that pick and roll as much as possible. Rockets are doing what we call icing the screen, in which they try and get the defender on the ball to get so high that when the screen comes, the player has to go the opposite way to the way the offense is suggesting. However, what that is causing is 2v1 advantage play. You've got the two offensive players with the trailing defender, and they're having lots of success of attacking that big and getting looks around the rim. Even on that recent out-of-bounds touch, we saw Mitch Clark get his hands on the pass. The pass still came from under the basket, so they're getting deep to the paint, and they've also obviously got some guys on there that can certainly shoot the ball on those kick-out passes. So Rockets having to try and manage that now, and expect Nurizade to be maybe either changing up the defense soon or talking a little bit differently about how to defend the ball screen and try and force Essex into some different offenses rather than just the ball screen. Right now, Reading only shooting 40%, uncharacteristic of them with how they've performed in first quarters throughout the season. As Essex, conversely, shooting a very impressive 64%, very patient build-up play, looking for the right shot every time, and they've done that thus far. And as a result, leading 22-15. Here is Champion. Jasper. Jasper sees some daylight, kicks it out. Chamberlain a three. No. And it's rebounded by Martin.
You won't want to give Chamberlain too many of those. That's a guy you don't want shooting the open three.
Canway inside and nearly muscled his way in. Chamberlain with the foul. And Emmanuel Kenway has really caused Reading some issues, especially close to the hoop.
Yeah, and you could see Chamberlain got caught behind him there, almost chest to the back of Kenway, and that made sure Kenway could get deep to the paint and try and get a look around the rim. They need to try and find a way of limiting that pass as much as possible. So they may look to front soon, get all the way in front and force higher passes. That higher pass gives the defense more time to try and get there and double team the catch. Might be just an option for them.
Well, Kenway played alongside Hopkins and Matt Ullman at Newcastle last season. So lots of players reuniting here today, not just from the Essex side, but also as far north as Tyneside. Here is Hopkins. Clark. Goes past Joe Hart. And here is Portman. Champion. The dancing floater.
Lovely finish from Champion. Rebels did a really good job on the first couple of drives. But that last one from Champion, too late on the help from Kenway. And it's an easy little floater for him.
Here is Kenway on the ball. Muscling Hopkins and gets his way to the hoop.
And Kenway is making all the difference. Forcing defense to help with shooters on the outside. If they don't help, he just plays 1v1 like that.
He has 6 right now for Essex. Portman gallops to the hoop. And the follow is put in by Hopkins.
Great job from Hopkins. Rockets struggling against the zone to get looks, so second chance points like those even more important.
Entering the final 10 seconds of the first quarter. It's been a very impressive one for the visitors. Bazumbru, a three, rattles it in.
And Rockets change their coverage. They squeeze Kenway so he doesn't have space to roll, go under the screen. Bazumbru drains it.
Final seconds of the first. Portman is blocked by Martin. It's a 10-point lead for the visiting Essex Rebels, who have been sublime offensively. Patient build-up play, looking for the right shot. They're getting it almost every single time. And as a result, they lead 29-19, 66% in those first 10 minutes from the Rebels. And Ross Norfolk is going to be absolutely thrilled with what he's seeing. But it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
But tactically, very impressive from the Rebels. They've put all the heat on the big Nsangu early. They've got him 2 early fouls. They've now punished looks inside. Coach Nurazade calls his timeout, changes his ball screen coverage. And of course, Bazumbru making that awesome 3 on the last possession. So a really good scout from him. The zone from Rebels, been really impressed with that. Rockets found a few early solutions to it, but since they've had to start rotating, they've really struggled to get looks in their offense. Essex have forced them into 2 or 3 rotations of the ball. They're having to work really hard, Reading, to get a good look against that zone. Really good job from the Rebels scout team.
Well, it's a happy Mother's Day to everyone watching, any mum that's watching today, as one of the happy mothers there just away from the camera, just getting a bouquet of flowers from Bailey Tustin, the game night MC. And you get a Mother's Day anthem that comes on from the Spice Girls, and then you switch it straight to Coolio's Gangster's Paradise. Not sure if that's a Mother's Day song.
Hey, well, John, might as well switch it up real quick.
Let's have a quick look at the stats right now. 4 of 7 from downtown for the visitors. And that's an impressive statistic in its own right, isn't it? And as a result, and just mixed with good shooting, leading by 10.
But this is the issue, John, that Rockets can't overhelp when Kenway catches inside because of the threat on the three-point line, giving him loads of space to play 1v1. That's the problem for Rockets.
Bazumbru has 12 to lead Essex right now. Justin Hopkins, who played all 10 minutes, has 10. You can make that 12.
Rebels coming out in a man-to-man, probably trying to neutralise that time Nurazade had to come up with solutions to the zone, but good job from Rockets to get a quick bucket.
Winter, beautiful move to the basket, but misses the layup. Olarerin now, full head of speed. Chamberlain back to Olarerin, a 3 at the top is money.
And that's someone that can change the game at any point. 10-point deficit goes to 5.
Quick 5-0 start to the second period. You can see Essex just not letting their heads drop. Patient build-up play each time. Martin finds his rhythm for 3. That's off to the right. And here is Clark. And it's, well, was going to be stolen by Martin. Referee Leroy Brown thought there was a bit too much in there.
But that's probably a helpful foul call for the Rockets. A loose pass from Pullman, and that could have given Rebels a chance to get a point out in transition. However, Rockets still able to put the pressure on. 10 points, they've gone down to a 5-point gap. They could get this even lower here.
Hopkins slips, still keeps his dribble alive. Olarerin sets himself for 3. Pullman and Johnson-Thompson were fighting for it. Chamberlain gets it back along the baseline, that's long. And a scrap for the second ball every time, especially by Zane Pullman.
And when you're down, John, second chance points become so much more important. Defending hard on the rebounds, trying to really get after the defensive boards, give yourself some extra possessions, but on the offensive end, get yourself a second or third opportunity to shoot when you're on the offensive end, especially if you're missing. Try and get yourself more looks for more chances to put the ball in the bucket.
Simon Chamberlain checks out. Isaac Spurrier comes in, ended the EABL season with JMA recently, averaged 20 points and shade under 2 blocks a game. And you know, for the majority of the EABL season, he was actually the leading scorer. Got picked out in the end, but a very successful campaign for him.
Absolutely, John.
And of course for the juniors as well, Charlie, as well, which you're a part of.
Well, Isaac did really well. He got into the South All-Conference first team for the South EABL Awards, so congratulations to him, one of the few JMA players that got into some of the award categories this year, so congratulations to all of those.
Of course, the Academy Finals wrapped up over midweek, as Winter was looking for Connor Nelson, couldn't find him. Clark all the way down Loddon Valley Avenue.
Lovely finish from Clark, just manoeuvres his body mid-flight to try and get himself an angle off the backboard. 2 points.
1 possession game now. And Essex have gone 2 minutes without a score. And a whistle has gone. David Griffin saw something there off the ball. I think that's on Hopkins. That'll be his first foul.
Yeah, just looked like he got a little bit too handsy there. Got beat on the change of pace by Johnson-Thompson and just used his hands to try and keep up with the player. So got called for holding.
Samet Nirazade was a bit confused as to that call, but a wild baseline feed there from Nelson and a backcourt violation.
Yeah, and Rebels not doing a good job of getting the looks that they were in the first quarter here, and all that 10-point advantage is very quickly almost fully disintegrated here, and Reading with a chance to tie or get him to within 1 point.
And having only turned the ball over once in the first period, 2 quick turnovers and just gone 2 minutes played in the second. Pullman, Hopkins attacking, Spurrier a 3, a rainbow 3, and that'll be a shot clock violation, despite the fact that Zane Pullman was getting creative by trying to hit the rim.
I was so ready for a Globetrotters moment there, straight out of Harlem.
Zane Pullman seems to be available to be a Harlem Globetrotter. You'd never think it, would you? Canway putting the moves on Pullman. That was a good look from Canway, but Johnson-Thompson couldn't hang on. Olarerin asking a bit too much of him, and Ben Winter in the right place, the right time. Nelson a 3. That's off the back iron. Canway a rebound, somehow still has it, gets his own rebound, and Pullman fouls him. And again, Reading really struggling to contain, the Essex number 21.
Yeah, absolutely, and both teams suffering from a run of turnovers, But Canway, as we talked about the second chance points, he got after those, John, and really made sure to give himself 2 or 3 opportunities. And Rockets, with this smaller lineup, ended up with no choice but to foul.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us on the Basketball YouTube channel as we wind down the regular season and look ahead towards the playoffs. Congratulations to the City of London Academy, Southwark Pride, for capturing the Division 1 women's title earlier this afternoon, beating Brent 62-59. Sorry if you had that to watch later on YouTube and I might have just spoiled the result for you.
Just changed my evening plans, John.
My apologies.
Back to that zone.
Always a great game whenever Brent and Kohler are playing. Here it is, Portman inside, Spurrier the easy finish.
And again, whenever they go to that zone, you can see there's always a baseline look. We mentioned it earlier.
And I think Olarerin is going to have a chat there. Yeah, he's fouled. I think he's fouled Kyron Martin there.
Yeah, good job from Kyron Martin there to sort of show the contact. Whenever you're being held, it's quite easy to sometimes sell that contact. And at this level, getting a quick foul on one of your opponent's key players always helps at all.
And now another foul. Leroy Brown has given a foul to Mitch Clark. And that'll be his first foul. Unsure as to why Justin Hopkins is throwing the unsportsmanlike call in the air. It's been a very stop-start last 45 seconds as Ben Winter gets us back underway. Hopefully we'll have a free-flowing offense here from the Rebels, something they haven't done yet really in this second period.
Well,
Canway.
Rockets on 14 fouls now, so they can't be too aggressive here.
Johnson Thompson a 3, that's off, and it's rebounded by the 6'2 Clark. And here he is on the ball. Olarerin doesn't go for the three-pointer, instead gives it up. Portman with the finish.
That's an excellent finish from Portman. Drives down the gut of the defense.
Timeout called, Ross Norfolk. Or in fact, excuse me, a technical foul has been called.
I'm not sure who
that's on. It's
Mitch
a third
Clark?
foul, and I think it is on Mitch Clark, yeah. So that's 3 fouls on Mitch Clark. That's Reading in the penalty as well. Essex only have 1 team foul. We still have 6:22 remaining of the second period. So Mitch Clark is going to have extended time on the bench. Lewis Champion's coming in.
Yeah, well, Rockets have been called for a lot of quick fouls there, and I think they're showing their frustration, but now they've got 6.5 minutes to play. They've just got this 10-point gap back, and now Rebels with a technical free throw. They're now 1 point up, and Rockets don't have any fouls to give, along with multiple players in foul trouble. I believe that's Clark's second, and Nasangu also on the bench with 2.
And Connor Nelson, the man who buried the free throw, a 79% foul shooter. He's actually the leader in free throws for Essex this season. Here is Bazumbru. Johnson Thompson. As a 3 is up and a 3 is good for Martin.
What a bucket that is from Martin. One step to his left with the left-hand bounce and just pulls it over 2 Rockets players. What a make.
And it's not often you get someone who doesn't set their feet properly when they shoot either. He was all discombobulated, but still managed to get it to fall. Portman to the hoop. Under the hoop is Hopkins, and he gets it to go. Again,
drive, force the back player to help find a player on the baseline. That's working a treat for Reading.
Bazumbru. Martin, way out of 3. That's off the back iron. Tipped by Winter. Gets it back. And Essex smelling blood here as Johnson Thompson kicks it out. A 3 for Winter. No. Johnson Thompson, the offensive board. Short hook. That doesn't go either.
Rockets giving up a few offensive boards now. They've got to start collapsing on the shot to try and grab those defensive rebounds.
Hopkins on the spin scores.
And we're now back and forth. Who's got the lead? Is it tied up? We're changing every couple of minutes.
Essex will rue those missed opportunities in that previous possession. Game tied at 34. Martin, hounded by Olarerin. Winter, shot clock at 3. Winter over Champion. No, good defense from the veteran Champion.
Absolutely, better team defense as well there from Rockets, try and force them into looks outside of what they were after.
Hopkins turns the ball over, and now Buzumbru in the open floor.
And it's those transition points every now and again, the pressure's on Essex and they get out for an easy layup in transition. That's happened multiple times in this game already.
Essex retake the lead. Their biggest lead has been 10. Champion. Olarerin, shot clock in single figures. Champion a 3. Money.
Big shot from Champion. Not a great offense from Rockets. Weren't managing to penetrate inside the three-point line. But when you've got a guy like Champion, his veteran experience, can make a shot like that, it doesn't matter.
And Reading this time in the ascendancy. And a foul away from the ball, and even the referees are telling the players to just calm down at the moment because it's getting very scrappy. That's a foul, I think, on Spurrier, and that'll be his second foul as Johnson, Thompson and Martin check out.
And again, team foul, so a foul off the ball will give him 2 shots at the line.
Tyrese Hudson coming into the game, and Emmanuel Canway comes back in. And yeah, every time, as you mentioned, every time Reading foul, Essex will head to the stripe. And we still have 3:35 remaining. However, for those opening 3 minutes, Essex couldn't get Reading to foul.
Yeah, absolutely. And Reading have to be a little bit more aggressive, try and limit catches, but that has put them in trouble on the scoreboard in the foul column.
And the lead swings back Essex's way. 4 lead changes in this second period alone. Make that 5 with Spurrier's free throw line jumper. Canway is absolutely hounded by Hopkins. Buzumbru against his old Solent teammate Zane Portman, but he loses the ball. Champion to the hoop, beautiful.
Just weaves his way past multiple help defenders, and now there is a timeout for the Rebels. They were up 10 at the start of this quarter, and now they're down by 3.
And Champion at 32 years young, doing what he still used to do back when he was in his 20s. And Reading have a 3-point lead. Timeout Ross Norfolk, 2:49 remaining. And it's been a very intriguing first half, hasn't it? And Reading have the lead, but you know, there's been multiple lead changes in this contest, and it's been really exciting, hasn't it?
Absolutely, and I think Justin Hopkins just putting the team on his shoulders. 16 points for him in 17 minutes to go with his 5 boards and 2 assists and a steal as well. Why not? And I think he's been really impressive. But the thing that I noticed about his 5 rebounds, 3 of them are on the offensive end of the floor, and I'm pretty sure at least 2 of those have been put-back finishes. So every time a shot gets missed, he's trying to get after it. Every time we see the team go into a man, they're playing into the low post with Hopkins. Every time they're in a zone, they're trying to penetrate and find Hopkins on the baseline. So he's the one they're trying to run through. Meanwhile, of course, for the Rebels, we've speaking about the effect Canway's having, but Buzumbru as well. What a performance from him so far. 14 points and 4 assists, and someone that is just negotiating the offense possession after possession, trying to get the best possible look for his team.
Reading have got a 22-9 second period here after trailing 29-19 after the first period. And you mentioned Justin Hopkins. What a second half of the season he has had. He's averaged 28 points, 4 boards in the month of February. He hasn't slowed down since. He did miss a game or 2, but he returned, well, he missed 2 league games. He did return against Bradford last week as Buzumbru hits the floater.
Yeah, the Rockets struggling with him a little bit so far in the game. He's already on 16 points, so You're going to have to manage his contribution later on in this first half. Try and make sure he doesn't give them a little run, the Rebels.
Spurrier misses everything with the layup. 7 of 8 from the field is Buzumbru in this first half as Winter explodes to the cup.
Yeah, Spurrier missing the left-hand finish, then gets blown by on the defensive end, so he's going to want to try and make up for those last couple of possessions.
Champion, Olarerin. Porman passing it around the perimeter beautifully, and the finish from Hopkins.
Who do they go to? That man, Justin Hopkins, swishes the corner three, give Rockets that lead once more.
2 of 2 from downtown now for Hopkins. 19 points, 8 of 9 from the field. Buzumbru looking to dance on Spurrier, kicks it out. And the 2 is no good there from Hudson. Buzumbru gets another bite of the cherry and gets it to drop. That's a 3-pointer. And that's 2 threes now for Luke Buzumbru.
It is, but Rockets have to start collapsing on the shot when they're in this smaller lineup. No Simon Chamberlain, no Tyner Zangu, and they're not putting enough bodies on the in the paint for my personal liking when you're struggling to get hold of the defensive rebounds.
That's actually 3 3-pointers now for Buzumbru out of 4 attempts. Champion, 6 to shoot. And he gets that one.
Love that. Stops, and rather than just pop straight away, he leans back to shoot over the high Canway.
Final minute of the half. As the lead ping-pongs around and a foul has been called. Champion not happy with the call. It's on him. Yeah, and that'll be his second foul.
He went to the floor just before that, wanting an offensive foul. And the referee's called him for a flop warning. So anyone on the Rockets side flops again, in the referee's opinion, then it'll be a technical foul for that player.
Samit Nurizadeh, I think, has called a timeout here, and he has. So 48.6 remaining in the half. Reading lead by 1. In the first 20 minutes, that has seen the lead, as we said, just ping-pong around. It's almost like a tactical game of tug-of-war, isn't it, right now? And you just feel there's going to be one team that is going to make a big run that's going to decide things right now. It's been very, very topsy-turvy, this game. It's been a real entertaining watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think both teams are going to be wanting to talk about similar things. Obviously, we've seen Rockets start to adjust and try and take Canway out of the game a little bit more. He's not scored for a while, but Buzumbru is actually the problem now. Obviously managing to play his 1v1s and have a lot of success from the 3-point line, but then also someone that was scoring off the pick and roll in the first quarter as well. So Rockets have done a good job of neutralizing the pick and roll, but now need to find better solutions in their 1v1 matchup. Meanwhile, for the Rockets, obviously Hopkins with 19 points of his own, matching Buzumbru in the points column, and slower scores from Olarerin and Clark and Porman and that like, but we know all of these guys can get going at any point in time, and Champion 4 of 5 from the field, chipping in with 9 points of his own. So multiple scorers for Reading, and probably just the 2 bigger focuses on the Essex Rebel side of Buzumbru and Canway.
Of course, you speak of Mitch Clark. He recently signed an off-season deal back home in Australia, didn't he? He's returning to NBL 1 action in Australia, playing for the Warwick Senators. As you said, slow to get going today. 9th in the NBL Division 1 in points, 18 points a game, averages 6 assists as well. As Canway splits the free throws. And we have a tie ball game at 46. Champion, Olarerin. Hopkins goes to ground, shot clock at 7. Off one leg is Porman, doesn't get that to fall. Tyrese Hudson aboard. And here is Buzumbru. Tyrese Hudson kicks it out Winter, he'll slow it down. Hopkins is almost daring Buzumbru to shoot. And Essex have 8 to shoot. Buzumbru a 3 over Spurrier. And again, that hustle, that fight and determination. Tyrese Hudson this time with the rebound. And he misses everything with the three. Shot clock was at 2.6. And that ends the half as well.
Yeah, Rockets really lucky on that last possession. They've given up far too many offensive rebounds in the first half. They're already at 11 rebounds, Rebels, so they've got just as many offensive rebounds as they do defensive rebounds. Love the adjustment from the Rebels on that last possession. The ball hit the low post, and Rebels instantly switched to a man-to-man. So the looks they were trying to find cutting through the parts of the zone that were being defended all of a sudden weren't available because everyone all of a sudden had a man. They all matched up. So a nice little adjustment, forced a mistake, and now down the other end, couldn't quite get either of their two looks to go.
So it's half-time here at Loddon Valley, 46-46. Nothing to separate the two teams. It's probably a fair scoreline given how the first 20 minutes has gone down. Justin Hopkins leading the way for the Rockets. 8 of 9 from the field, 2 of 2 from downtown. 19 points, 5 boards, 3 of them offensive for him. Luke Bazumbru, 19 points off 8 of 10 shooting for Essex. But it's all to play for in the second half. It's going to be an absolutely entertaining, barnstorming event. And catch me and Charlie in around 13 minutes' time. We're tied up at 46 apiece. And an offensive rebound for Reading. And Portman makes it count the second. Canway. Bazumbru a three again, and he makes it count this time. Winter, shot clock winding down. Winter's got to put it up, a three. That's from Winter. Hopkins at the top, a three.
Look at the rim.
Hopkins inside. Looks for Hart, finds him, catch and shoot. And he gets that one to Champion. The dancing floater. It's been a very impressive one for the visitors. Bazumbru, a three, Raspeed. Chamberlain back to Olarer in a three at the top is money.
And that
Clark all the way down Loddon Valley Avenue. As a three is up and a Champion a three, money.
big shot.
Champion to the hoop, beautiful.
Just
Portman passing it around the perimeter beautifully, and the finish
stops, and rather than just pop straight away, he leans back to shoot over the high. Yeah, right.
Welcome back, everyone, to Loddon Valley, where it's nicely poised, heading into the third quarter. 46-46 is the scoreline between the Reading Rockets and the Essex Rebels in the final home game here at Loddon Valley of the regular season. Of course, there'll be playoff basketball being played here in due course as the league season winds down. John Hobbs and Charlie Haynes keeping you company for the second half, and it's been a very entertaining 20 minutes, hasn't it, so far, Charlie? And multiple lead changes, neither team giving each other an inch. It's been really entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely has, John. Both teams have now won a quarter by double-digit points, which is rare to say when you've only had 2 quarters. I think, especially for the Essex Rebels, they've got plenty of fouls to give. They've only actually had 3 fouls in the whole game so far. However, that is not unusual when you've played a lot of zone. Normally the fouls come more when you're in a man-to-man. Talking of fouls in man-to-man, that's exactly what's happened to the Reading Rockets. Mitch Clark on 2, Nasangu on 2, Champion on 2, Spurrier on 2. However, Coach Nurizade won't be too nervous about players being on 2, but if they pick up that early third, that could cause him to be starting to think about how he's going to start to rotate a little bit differently in the early stages of this second half.
And conversely, only 3 fouls in the entire game for Essex right now. No one in foul trouble, just 1 foul each for Joe Hart, Emmanuel Canway and Kyron Martin. So, you know, no foul trouble for them, and that could play quite well into their hands, can't it?
Well, it allows them to have options such as switching into a more aggressive defense, maybe a man-to-man, maybe a press, because they've got so many fouls to give. It's not the team fouls that is benefiting them, it's the personal fouls. There isn't anyone that Coach Norfolk's having to manage just yet in terms of trying to manage their minutes. He can kind of play whoever he wants. Whereas if there's an early foul for someone like Nasangu or Clark, that could force Nurizade into changing his tactics a little bit and having to play through other players.
Well, big thank you and a big welcome to everyone on the Basketball England YouTube channel. Not sure who the person was who left a comment for Leah McDermott, who is a Essex Rebels player. But either way, Bazumbru to the hoop, and the ball will go out of bounds. Good to have Leah and good to have everyone else on board here today on a Sunday afternoon, and Luke Bazumbru a bit shaken up with that play. Of course, we don't, we're just the commentators. We don't have access to the Basketball England YouTube channel feed. I'll look into that. Here is Portman. Clark. Clark with the shot clock winding down. Hopkins has got to put it up. And it's short. Johnson, Thompson, Portman and Nasangu were fighting for it, and it'll be an Essex ball.
And there was really no solution to the multiple pick and rolls they ran. Nasangu set the screen for Mitch Clark about 3 times there, but couldn't find the option he looked. Good defense from the Rebels, hedging to try and force Mitch Clark away from the 3-point line and then taking away the pass by quickly recovering to the rolling Nasangu.
Here is Bazumbru, a 3 from the wing. That's off the back iron. Canway with the offensive board. Hart swings it. Winter, a 3. That's long. Clark and Hart fighting for it. Hopkins says thank you very much. Olarerin wide open, a 3. That's in and out. Bazumbru with the rebound. Bazumbru now glancing his way to the basket. That'll be a goaltend. It went in anyway. But the backboard was smacked as the ball went down the hoop.
Yeah, Bazumbru is just again continuing to find ways to score. He'll want to get a few early points in the third quarter just to get that momentum back up after the 15-minute break.
Portman backing down Hart. Bit of a mismatch there. Here is Hopkins dancing his way to the basket. Nsangu can't get that to fall. Johnson Thompson the rebound. Action is picking up a little bit, but execution lacking on both ends. Apart from that basket from Buzumbru, who is on the ball. Winter. Pass was deflected, but it came off Johnson Thompson last, so Reading will get possession.
Buzumbru's got that lovely little hang dribble. He just pounds the ball nice and high, almost up to his shoulder. Just gives him an extra second without having to bounce, where he can decide to finish, decide to pass, or can continue his dribble as long as his hand stays on top of the ball. So he's got a really nice little move there that's helping him just give himself time and space when he gets to the mid-range area to make the right decisions.
Clark to Olarerin. And that pass was asking too much of Portman, who did well to collect. The floater is good from Hopkins.
And Coach Norfolk absolutely fuming that no one stepped up on his drive to meet him early. Let him get way too deep to the paint, and he's got such a nice touch around the rim. He's not going to miss from there.
Canway. Good matchup there with Nsangu, who's a Kit King Trophy final MVP. And here is Canway on the ball. 5 on the shot clock for the Rebels. Hart finds Buzumbru. They've got a dance here. Buzumbru doesn't get his 3 to drop. Olarerin gets the step. Nsangu under the hoop, blocked by Canway. And Winter comes up with it. Buzumbru sees a lane and exploits it.
Yeah, some of the Rockets players just a little bit late to get back there, just sort of jogged the first couple of steps, and that did give Rebels a numbers advantage in their transition offense.
And the ball goes out of bounds, and it will be an Essex ball.
Yeah, Ross Norfolk clearly a shooter on the scout, because St. Portman did really well to find him on that last one.
As Portman comes out, Champion checks in. Johnson Thompson. Here's Hart, excuse me. Johnson Thompson couldn't collect the loose ball, and here is Hopkins. Good defense from Hart, just swipes it away from Hopkins. Buzumbru back to Hart. Buzumbru wide open, a 3, corner pocket.
Outstanding hands from Hart, and then finds the hot hand down the other end, and Buzumbru hits a 3. So Norfolk, Coach Norfolk really happy with that last couple of possessions, offense and defense, and now Nurizade forced into an early first timeout.
Absolutely, yeah, forced into an early timeout, something Nurizade does not like doing, but Essex have jumped into the ascendancy in their own right, have built a mini run in their own sense, and they've only held, they've held Reading to just 2 points in the first 4 minutes, well 3 minutes if you really want to be exact, but lead 53-48, and that's again a good start to this quarter from Essex. It's like we saw in the first period.
Yeah, absolutely, and Coach Nurizade, a very good defensive coach, and on offense he's got lots of different ideas, but they pretty much always start or finish with a ball screen. So a lot of what Essex Rebels are doing, we talk about how to defend that ball screen. Have a watch, viewers at home, in the next couple of possessions. When you see Olarerin or Clark come off the ball screen, there's normally 2 Essex players on him for about 2 seconds. That's just to stop him from being able to drive, force the player back to the halfway line, and then you'll see the bigger one of the 2 return to the player that screened. So they leave the screener open for a second, and they put all the pressure on the ball handler, and then once the ball handler's no longer a threat, they then return, and they're back to 5v5. Rockets struggling the first couple of minutes of this half to try and attack that coverage.
Clark, Nsangu in unfamiliar territory. Here is Clark to reset. 4 minutes now played in the third period. Clark, who's been quiet offensively. Shot clock at 4. Clark a 3, gets it.
Big shot from Mitch Clark. Difficult to see if the Rebels are switching into a man-to-man still when the ball goes inside and they're in that zone. So it'll be good to see what happens when Rockets start cutting. See if Ross Norfolk's gone back to that idea from the first half.
First 3-pointer for Clark, 33% from downtown this afternoon. Hart in trouble. Turns it over to Champion. Here is Clark now. Single possession lead for Essex. Clark, Jasper, champion. Clark along the baseline again. One pass too many, it seems, but Hopkins steals it, scores it, and one.
And one indeed, and he flexes his muscles and looks to the fans to say, don't worry, guys, I got this. Tough, tough finish. Foul on Johnson-Thompson, and one more shot to come for Hopkins.
Hopkins putting a bit of muscle with the hustle as he stole the ball under the hoop and got it to fall, and now he'll have a chance at a three-point play the old-fashioned way. 75% from the stripe this season. The team's leading scorer so far in the regular season, 19 points a contest. As we mentioned earlier on, averaged 28 points, 4 boards last month. Of course, the National Cup final MVP back in January as well against Hemel. 30 points in that one. Bazumbru to Winter. Canway. 6 to shoot. Bazumbru back irons his 3. Ball batted around. Hopkins has it. And he loses it as well. And it's going to be an Essex ball. As Joe Hart will check out. And Connor Nelson comes in.
You see Bazumbru just listening to Norfolk's instructions and setting up his team in the offense that coach wants. Here's a double stagger action.
Something Essex have played all game long, and a foul has been called as the pick and roll didn't really work the way it wanted it to. Could have also argued for an offensive foul there, but a regular foul has been given, and Essex will get the ball.
Yeah, I certainly thought there was a little bit of illegal movement on the screen.
You would think that, wouldn't you?
Well, you know, from my really good angle all the way at the top of the stand.
Mitch Clark comes out, and for the first time today, Reese Pinnock comes back. First home game since December. Canway muscling his way in, misses everything. Pinnock goes to ground. And you could just see automatically all the Reading players helping Reese Pinnock up. Of course, Reese Pinnock returned in the Kit King Trophy final, only played less than a minute, and that was when the game was taken care of. But 9 points and 1 block on his, you could say, official return last week in Yorkshire against Bradford, as Canway blocks Hopkins' floater. Bazumbru in the open floor, and he will go to the line, and that is where Bazumbru is so dangerous. We've spoken about his underrated three-point threat, but in the open floor attacking, that's what Luke Bazumbru does best.
I've been really impressed with the way he controls pace on his drives. You can see it, as you're saying, John, in transition when he's going down fast. Really good composure. But we've also seen that change of speed when he's been attacking 1v1 from the three-point line or off the pick and roll. He gets to the, what I like to call the decision-making area, the mid-range area between the three-point line and the basket. He'll tend to do some kind of dribble that will freeze the defender, whether that's what we said about hanging the ball nice and high, or a quick shuffle with his feet and a quick dribble with the ball. Just give himself a second to think, and then he makes the right read. Really like the composure in his game.
And he gets that second to drop. One thing that Bazumbru did have issues with when he was back at Solent was his free throw shooting, but certainly has improved that, 73% this season with Essex. Pinnock. Jasper. Chamberlain. One pass again too many. Bazumbru now loses the ball. You talk about his ball security. He just lost the ball there. Uncharacteristic from the former Surrey man.
But good hands on the defensive end from him, and Johnson-Thompson managed to get a piece of the ball each and get out in transition, give themselves extra possessions.
Here is Bazumbru. Essex have scored 17 points in transition in this game. Nelson, shot clock at 9, he puts it in for 3.
That's a huge hit. Really good defense from Zep Jasper on Bazumru, but Nelson manages to find his spot and drain it from the wing.
Leads the team in three-point percentage, 41% this season. Champion, Jasper. Champion to respond, he does.
And no penetration at all from the Rockets offense. So Champion's done that a few times when we've not managed to break the three-point line. He's hit a big shot from outside the arc.
Under 3 minutes to play in the third. Canway a 3, that's off the back iron. And Pinnock skies for the board. Champion. Nasangu inside the floater.
What a lovely move from Nasangu. That's not something we were seeing him do at the start of the season. It was all brute force and athleticism. Now he's really, as well as that, got this lovely little bit of finesse and touch and footwork around the rim.
Kyron Martin comes back in as Ben Winter goes to the bench. Nasangu, as we mentioned 2 weeks ago, Kit King Trophy final MVP. 9 points, 18 rebounds, and 9 of those were on the offensive side. That's actually a season high for any player in the NBL this season in any competition. Canway, corner pocket 3, misses everything. And Champion and Martin were almost in a WWE headlock there.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. I mean, the referee was certainly a lot closer than I was. It looked like they both sort of had hold of each other.
Yeah.
And then Martin just sort of dropped to the floor to show that he was being held by Champion. I think that's Champion's point now, is they were both holding each other. It was just the first one that went down was the one that looked like was doing most of the grabbing.
2:16 remaining, and again, nicely poised this game. It's a 1-point lead, slender advantage to the hosts. Both teams are short of playoff basketball. As Bazumru misses the 2. Johnson Thompson collects the offensive board. Here is Bazumru in the corner, putting the moves on Pullman. Gets the step, finds Johnson Thompson, who explodes to the basket, misses the layup, and Nasangu swipes the rebound. Pullman. Only Nasangu's 3rd rebound of the game. Here he is on the ball, but he can't control it, and Essex will get possession. Nasangu not happy with that.
Lovely offensive rebound on the last possession from Johnson Thompson. Obviously couldn't get his finish to go with the left-hander despite the athletic move. But that's now the 12th offensive rebound for the Essex Rebels to just 14 defensive rebounds for the Rockets. That could be a game changer if they can start converting their second chance points once again, as they did in the first half.
Yeah, Essex are out-rebounding Reading 30-19 right now as Martin buries a 2. And another lead change. 60-59. Pullman. Jasper, he can hit them from there. And he gets that one to roll.
The shooter's rattle as it rattles off the rim, nudges the backboard. Down it goes. Jasper making a big shot to get that lead again to 2 points, but no lead is safe. We're changing hands on the scoreboard every possession.
That is the 13th lead change of this contest. Martin, 14 lead changes.
Whatever you can do, I can do better, says Martin. Again, every possession, the lead changes hands. This is an amazing third quarter.
It's been a fantastic game. It hasn't been the prettiest at the best of times, but it's been exciting nonetheless. Final 20 seconds of the third. Pullman, what a pass to Chamberlain. Puts up a 3. That's off. Martin rebounds. What a find, though, that was.
Absolutely. Now 8 seconds left on the game clock for Rebels to make something happen.
Bazumru looks for a bit of room and exploits it again. And that ends the third quarter. And the Essex Rebels hold a slender lead, 65-62, after 3 periods of play.
I cannot stress enough how much I love that little mid-range hesitation from Bazumbu. He did it again on that last possession. Go back and watch it again. You'll see he drives with the right hand. He just pounds it and just lets it hang in his hand, keeps his hand on top, uses the power of the bounce to keep in his hand for an extra second, and just gives him time to read the defense, lets the defense settle, and then attacks hard to the rim to get the finish. Really, really good from him. And he's showing on the stat sheet 28 points, using his pace and poise and composure to get his 6 assists and his 2 steals. But do not count out the Reading Rockets. They were in the lead just 30 seconds ago. Justin Hopkins still leading for the Rockets on the scoreboard with 24 points, but Champion with a solid 5 of 6 from the field, getting 12 points of his own. His problem is he's only got 1 foul left to give.
And the interesting statistic from this game as a total, you see Reading have actually got the better of Essex from the field, both at 2-point range and 3-point range. As we see Reading shooting 60% from 2-point land to Essex's 56, 42% to Essex's 37. But the big statistic out of all this is Essex are currently 10 of 13 from the charity stripe. Reading have only gone to the line 3 times in this game, and that's what separates ultimately these 2 teams.
Yeah, and I would say again, a big part of that is the Essex Rebels zone defense. It's a defense that you typically try and pass and cut through rather than get downhill and drive through, because there's always a help defender. So the job is to move that defender rather than just attack it.
Well, we're getting set to start the 4th period. Here is Martin. Canway. Winter to Canway, blocked by Nasangu, but Canway keeps at it.
Shoes play from Nasangu, but again, it's the offensive rebounds that are killing the Rockets every time they try and get a lead.
Hopkins, here is Clark. Clark to the basket, blocked by Johnson Thompson.
1 block down the other end, another block for the very next possession. Teams trading here.
Averages just under a block a game does Johnson Thompson, former Worthing Thunderman, former Newcastle Eagles player as well. Nasangu in and out with the free throw line jumper as the shot clock was about to expire. Canway. Winter. Johnson Thompson to Martin, to Johnson Thompson. Short little hook. And Nasangu rebounds. But a foul has been called, I think, on Zeb Jasper.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what actually went wrong there. I thought that it looked like Johnson Thompson, who's been struggling to get shots to drop today. I thought it was a good look from him, but just not one that he could get to full. I'm not too sure what happened here. I've got the luxury of being able to see it again in front of me. It looks like he was just holding Canway, and Canway sort of pushed him off. So it looks like it was a bit of a 50-50, but as the contact came from Zep Jasper first, that's why the foul was called on him.
Winter. Nelson, a 3, in and out. No, it goes in. That friendly roll has really been kind to Essex. Samit Nurazadeh has seen enough, and this is Essex's biggest lead since leading by 10 in the first period.
Yeah, and I tell you what, John, the thing I notice is we see the equal amount of field goals taken. So it's now 52-51. It was 51-51 before that last shot. So the teams are getting the same amount of shots. Here's the issue with that. Rockets have had 6 offensive rebounds. However, Essex Rebels have had 15. So they've had 15 shots where they've got the ball back afterwards. So if Rockets could just try and take some of those shots away, they would have ended up having more shots on their own, on their own offense, and they probably would have had a chance to extend this lead rather than keep giving up these second chance points. Essex Rebels actually haven't taken up that much of an advantage of it. The second chance points for those are actually quite low. So if they can start converting on the second chance points, because they're getting enough offensive rebounds to do just that, then we could be in a good spot.
Well, away from here, of course, today it's a big weekend, especially for the Hemel Storm. If they win both of their games this weekend, they are crowned league champions, and they've already passed the first hurdle. They beat Newcastle Knights last night, but they are trailing currently against London Cavaliers, 30-24, early stages of the second period. And an interesting thing that we haven't mentioned, if Reading lose this game today, and they're down by 8 points, if they lose this game today, that hands the title to Hemel, regardless of what happens at Uxbridge College.
Yeah, absolutely lots to play for in this fourth quarter.
Here is Clark. Finds Olarerin wide open, a three.
And that's a guy who will always find a way to put points on the scoreboard. Not had a huge scoring game so far. That's only his 9th point, but he's someone that can get hot at any point in time.
Martin. Canway. Nelson finds Canway, who is wide open, a three, and he buries it.
And that's not the first time Rockets have hit a three and Rebels have hit a three right back.
It's only a 28% three-point shooter, of course, does most of the damage a bit closer to the hoop, but not afraid to shoot from there. That's his first of the day. Hopkins explodes to the basket along the baseline, and Canway fouls him. And a cheer from the Reading fans on that call.
Well, that's just the
That's
sixth
a third
foul.
foul. Yeah, sixth foul, but a third one on Canway.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, some firepower on the bench himself. Canway Hart on the bench as well, but Rebels always with a roster that can go deeper than just the starting five, similar to the Reading Rockets, which makes it such an exciting game, whether fouls are present or not. You know, both teams always have people on the court or off the bench that can make an impact.
Well, Coach Norfolk has got to be incredibly proud of how disciplined his Essex team have been in this contest. No real foul trouble to speak of in this contest. Canway has 3 fouls, but stays on the floor. Nelson, and that's deflected out of bounds by Nsangu.
So Norfolk will be looking at the 5-second shot clock. He'll be trying to pick one of his sets that gets you a pretty quick look rather than one of the longer offenses. Rocket's going to want to probably look to switch maybe every screen here just to make sure everyone's always got someone in front of them.
Canway did well to collect. Shot clock at 2. Off the window and down and 1. No travel.
Yeah, travel called, and Nsangu takes a big sigh of relief because that would have put him on a third foul as well.
And Canway denied a really tough basket by unfortunately traveling. Clark uses his body to create separation, but Olarerin resets. 7 to shoot for the Rockets. Olarerin a 3, no, rebounded Canway.
Pick and roll against the zone, not giving Rockets a lot of success.
14 points, 8 boards for Emmanuel Canway. Here he is again. Winter, Canway inside, gets it.
And Canway just having his way in the paint. Easy points for him at the moment.
9-point lead for Essex. Reading with their backs against the wall. Clark to the hoop.
And the Wizard of Oz with that touch again round the rim, making sure he's always a threat, gets to 7 points on the score sheet.
And they need some wizardry from the man from Perth. Bazumbru. Again, so patient on offense. Bazumbru doesn't get the 3. Here is Clark. Clark to the basket, and that won't go. And 6:05 remaining, and Clark will head to the stripe. And the foul is on Bazumbru. And that'll be his first foul of the afternoon.
Oh, I'm not sure what's happening. It looks like there's a discussion going on about Nsangu grabbing onto the rim afterwards, but I'm not sure what for.
Either way, Clark, who has been fairly quiet tonight on the scoring front, has 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal to his name, now moves on to 8.
We've seen Rockets claw gaps back when they've been behind already against Rebels. They want to do that early. They don't want to leave it too late.
And Clark rattles in the second. 4 minutes played here in the final quarter. Buzumbru. Winter back to Martin. 5 to shoot for the Rebels. They've got to get a move on here. Shot clock violation. Good defense from Reading, in particular, tying the Nsangu.
Absolutely, and the Rebels fell asleep on that one. You can't have shot clock violations at this point in the game.
Two-possession game. Here is Olarerin. Champion goes for 3. And that's off, and Winter with the rebound. The let-off there for Essex. Crowd noise intensifying around Loddon Valley. Buzumbru in trouble as the shot clock wound down, and it's rebounded by Olarerin. Here is Clark all the way down Main Street.
And Mitch Clark making big plays down the stretch here. Gets another 2 to go. It's now a 3-point gap and a needed timeout from the Essex Rebels. You wonder if that one maybe could have come a couple of minutes earlier while they still had that slightly bigger lead.
11 points for Mitch Clark, 4 of 7 from the field, and Reading now over 50% from the field. They've spent a long while shooting below average for them, but it's now a 1-possession game halfway through the 4th period here at Loddon Valley. Luke Buzumbru, 30 points. What a game he has had here today.
Absolutely, but an efficient game as well. He's only missed 3 shots from inside the 3-point line. He's not missed a foul shot, and he's almost 50% from behind the 3, and just 3 turnovers in almost 30 minutes. He has had a performance that has been absolutely outstanding and really trying to push his spot to the MVP of this one. But again, Justin Hopkins, a little bit quieter towards the end of this game, doing his job on the boards, but not necessarily getting so many looks inside. But Clark starting to shine through instead. He's on 11 points now, over half of those coming in the 4th quarter.
Well, if you count this game as well, Buzumbru has averaged 24 points in his last 3 games. Of course, we still have 5 minutes to go, so that average could shoot up if Buzumbru decides to score any more. Here is Buzumbru on the ball, and a blocking foul on Clark, and we've seen that time and time again this season, how he gets his body in the way, draws the charge, but on this occasion his feet were just a little late in setting.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what was wrong with it. I'm not sure if maybe it was because he was still moving laterally. Looks like from the shot I had in front of me, got a little replay here in front of me, it looked like maybe he was just still moving across the path of the drive.
Buzumbru misses the first. Essex as well, something we haven't touched on, they've improved their free throw shooting compared to last week. 61% against Bradford. Before that, just 60% against Nottingham. And so far, around 75% here today. So improvements have been made. That will be now around 75% now that he's made that. And Essex, more importantly, have a 4-point lead. Yeah,
important to try and make those easy ones. They make a much bigger difference than you think, despite being the lowest score available on an offense.
Clark still has it. Short with the floater. Battered by Clark, picked up by Champion. Champion to the basket. And the reverse layup is good from Hopkins.
I really like Rockets made an adjustment to their pick and roll. They're no longer screening the inside of the top two of the zone. They're screening the outside to try and force a 2v1 or give a look into the middle on a drive.
Johnson Thompson, Buzumbru, 7 to shoot for the Rebels. Buzumbru sees a gap, finds Martin, puts up a 3, buries it.
Big shot, and again, every time Rockets make a play, it feels like Rebels make one just as big down the other end.
Everything Reading hit, Essex counter. 3:45 remaining. Clark, a 3, nails it.
Bang! And he lets the coach know about it on his way back and makes a shot one end, get a 3 down the other, and Clark answers it right back.
One possession game. As Loddon Valley erupts in chance of defense. Winter misses the 3 from Nelson. Ball batted around. Nasangu picks it up. Foul is called.
And that is a big possession stopper from the Reading Rockets, because what happens now is they get the ball and a chance to tie this one up again. Think about, they were struggling at the start of this quarter. They were down big, forced Coach Norfolk into a timeout. Now they're at a point where a 3 would put them in the lead and a 2 would tie it up. That's huge from Reading.
It's been a thrilling contest to end the regular season here at Loddon Valley. Of course, Reading will be at home in the postseason as well. 14th of April will be the first quarter-final. Reading will be at home, of course, an opponent to be decided. Here is champion, and a chance for Reading to tie or take the lead. Clark. Olarerin. Clark still has it. Shot clock winding down. Blocked by Johnson Thompson on Nasangu. And that'll be a shot clock violation. A vital stop for Essex.
And Nurizade really upset. Nasangu knew he was at the end of the shot clock when he took the first shot. But when he was blocked, he just for some reason took a bounce. If he'd have gone straight back up, that'd have been 2 points.
And now Essex a chance to create a bit of breathing space. Martin. Canway to Buzumbru. Buzumbru sees some daylight inside. Finds Johnson Thompson to the hoop.
Yes, he did. Johnson Thompson with the biggest dunk of the game and lets the Rockets bench know about it.
It's a 2-possession game with 2:19 remaining.
And big-time players, as we know, make big-time plays, and Rockets have plenty of those that can do that, but so do the Essex Rebels, and we're seeing a showcase at the end of this game in the final quarter with big shots being made by both teams.
Clark to the basket. No, Nasangu can't get the tip.
Yeah, that would have been a good opportunity for Nasangu just to try and touch it back in, but Mitch Clark took a really tough offhand shot there, tried to get it to go, but in the end, good rebounding from the Rebels.
We've seen this a couple of times here at Loddon Valley where where Reading have been down. Canway misses the 2, but Reading have had enough in the tank to seal a late win. Can we see more dramatics here? Clark. Hopkins. Putting the moves on Johnson Thompson, can't get it. Nasangu swipes it away from Canway. And champion wants to reset. Clark a 3, no. Rebounded by Buzumbru.
And Justin Hopkins needs to try and control himself here. He's really upset when he tried to score with Johnson Thompson. He was fighting through all sorts of contact, and he wanted a foul for it by the looks of it from his reaction there, but no call, and instead the foul is on Hopkins a couple of seconds later for pushing on his way to an offensive rebound.
Reading at the moment seeing their slim title hopes disappearing. Busumbru puts it in. Timeout, Samet Nurizadeh.
And that is a pressure moment for Busumbru. Drops Mitch Clark and then makes the free throw line jumper. But Samet Nurizadeh now has no more timeouts remaining for the last 70 seconds of this one. The last 2 minutes is when the game gets really tactical. It's when coaches start coming up with their plays and draw-ups and different things to try and advance the ball and take time off the clock, add time on the clock. So this is a big moment for the Rebels. If they can control the next couple of possessions on the defensive end, put all the pressure on Rockets, they still have 2 more timeouts to use. They can advance the ball and really settle this game down. I think the favour is in Rebels' hands right now.
And that's, you've touched on a really good point. Reading now out of timeouts with 1:10 remaining. Essex still have 2 timeouts and they have fouls to give as well. And this has been pretty much the constant throughout this contest, hasn't it? How Essex have been so patient throughout this game, not just on the offensive side, but on the defensive side. They've been incredibly disciplined. No player really in major foul trouble. You've got 3 fouls on Emmanuel Canway, but other than that, it's just 1 foul on Joe Hart, Johnson Thompson, and Martin. So, no fouls, really, no foul trouble at all. And it's been an incredibly disciplined, patient performance, hasn't it?
It's hard to win a game, John, with just 7 free throws, and that's all Rockets have had so far. Meanwhile, like you said, Rebels, they've had an extra 8 chances to score at the line, and they've scored 6 more points at the free throw line. And have a look at what the score difference is. 6 points.
And back in Uxbridge, London Cavaliers lead the Hemel Storm 48-41. But if Reading lose here, Hemel will be champions regardless. Clark turns the ball over.
That was the worst possible outcome for Rockets, and Rebels can make them pay here.
Busumbru, Martin will slow it down. Instead, he'll pass it to Busumbru, who wants to eat away a bit of the clock. Wise from Busumbru, and Connor Nelson is fouled by Clark.
Really, really smart play from Busumbru and
that's Clark
Martin.
done as well. Mitch Clark has fouled out.
You have to think now that could be game, set, match Rebels here. They managed to really wind down the clock before Rockets fouled.
Busumbru is fouled by Porman.
And Busumbru, a player that's gone 3 of 4 from the line here. If you can just get one of these to drop, that'll make a big difference, because now instead of 2 threes to tie, Rockets need 3 scores to even try and get in the lead.
Both teams with, well, in fact, Reading are in the penalty now with that foul. Busumbru hits the foul shot. He now moves on to 32, a virtuoso performance from him today. Of course, his former employers back at Solent sealed promotion as league champions of Division 2 South this afternoon. Congratulations to everyone down in Solent as they join Bristol as Division 2 champions. Hopkins dancing to the hoop as Chamberlain misses everything. And a defeat here in Berkshire means celebrations in Hemel Hempstead, albeit via Uxbridge, as they will seal the Division 1 men's title here this afternoon, as the Essex Rebels are now looking set to inflict a loss on the Rockets this afternoon in an incredibly composed, patient, and incredibly professional performance, led by Luke Busumbru, Agent Zero.
Absolutely, and very tough to win games when you've gone up by 10 and given that all up by halftime. But what a professional second half to see this one out.
Hopkins explodes to the basket and scores. Timeout called by Ross Norfolk. It's an 8-point game. Ross Norfolk just wants to calm things down for the final 25.9 seconds. The game's not over for him, even though it is an 8-point lead. And I mean, stranger things have happened in basketball over the years, but this looks like to be one hurdle too much.
Absolutely, and you've got to wait until that game is fully done and the buzzer goes. So Norfolk just making sure the ball is as far away from his own basket as possible. Hill now would probably advance the ball into the front court just to keep it away from Rockets. You can say that if you advance the ball into the front court, the shot clock actually drops to 14. However, with the advantage they've got, he'll probably just want to keep it away from the baseline, make sure Rockets can't get a steal and quick looks, and try and make Rockets have to play baseline to baseline rather than just in the front court.
Buzumbru with 35 points, 8 assists, 13 of 21 from the field, 4 of 9 from downtown. Justin Hopkins have led the way for the Rockets, 29 points and 7 boards. Joe Hart checks back in for Essex for these final 25.9 seconds. Martin and Olarerin with the foul, so that will send Kyron Martin to the stripe. 65% foul shooter for the season. As we mentioned at the top, a man who had great success as a junior at Croydon Cougars and looks to put the exclamation point on a solid afternoon's work for the Rebels. The shot clock will be off after these free throws. Misses the second, but the shot clock is off. Essex will not foul as Hopkins looks for the spectacular pinnacle on the follow.
And Hopkins wanting a foul, but doesn't matter. The game is done.
And I must say, congratulations to Hemel Storm. It's been a fantastic season. Reading, you know, if you really must have a bit of a leverage, Reading do have the head-to-head on the Hemel Storm, but it won't matter because they will capture the league title as Essex have done them a favour and have beaten the Reading Rockets here today. But Reading still have the playoffs to look forward to and a chance at early revenge, possibly against Hemel.
Absolutely. Congratulations to the Hemel Storm. What an impressive season they've had, and it'll be exciting to see how both Hemel Storm and, of course, Reading Rockets do in the playoffs. Could we have a repeat of that final?
Big congratulations to Mark Clark, Michael Darlow, Carol Humphrey, everyone involved at Hemel. They are losing at the moment to London Cavaliers and Uxbridge, but it's all academic. And that will do it. Essex Rebels come away with an 89-81 victory over the Reading Rockets. Hemel Storm are your NBL Division 1 Men's League champions. Congratulations to the Essex Rebels. Congratulations as well to the Hemel Storm. Reading will have to settle for second place as they find the league title slipping out of their grasp after collecting the National Cup and the Kit King Trophy. Essex Rebels have won today. They've done their cause for a top 4 spot, the world of good, as they continue their incredible form in the midst of unimaginable tragedy that befell them in February. Certainly doing the Essex 4 incredibly proud, and they will be looking down on the Rebels today and extremely proud of how they have performed. Charlie is courtside. We are waiting for a post-game chat. We will hopefully get what I hope will be Luke Buzumbru for the Essex Rebels, but we will have to wait as the traditional man of the match Prosecco is handed out. It's handed out to Justin Hopkins, 29 points, 7 rebounds for him this afternoon. Luke Buzumbru, 35 points, 8 assists, getting the job done, assisted by Emmanuel Canways, 16 points and 8 boards. And I believe we are courtside with Charlie, who is with Samit Nurizadeh.
And here we have Coach Samit Nurizadeh. Samit, what a game, first of all, back and forth. What's your instant reflection on the game?
The opposition played amazing. They shot the ball amazing. We first half we rebounded bad. Second half, maybe we didn't drive to the basket well. But I haven't said that. We didn't handle their zone well. When they switched, it's a matchup zone. They switched with a big guy coming out. We didn't attack well. Okay, well I need to watch it and see. But the opposition played really well.
A really big game from Luke Basumbu on the other side. He had 35 points and 8 assists. What would you say about his performance?
Oh yeah, we couldn't handle him. You have to leave him one thing outside. If he doesn't score outside, that's good. Then you're sagging. He hit outside and then he drove to the basket. We couldn't handle it.
And of course, we have playoffs coming up soon. Our position in second is pretty much confirmed now. What do you think about the team in terms of finishing second? What that means for playoffs?
Oh, that's finishing second is quite big for us. Having the hopefully quarterfinals. It's at home, and hopefully we go through quarterfinals. It's semifinals at home. It's massive. It's massive for the fans as well. So,
Samit Nurizadeh, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time. Guys, stick with us as I'm going to try and grab a really quick interview with Ross Norfolk, head coach of the Essex Rebels.
The sun is on as well, if you want.
And here we go, guys. After being joined by Coach Samit Nurizadeh, we now have head coach Ross Norfolk joining us, head coach of the Essex Rebels. Coach, what an amazing win. What's your instant reflection on the game?
Instant reflection was, I think, we stuck to our game plan. We were rotating between our defences, which I think we worked on all week, so we stuck to our game plan and stayed the course. And eventually it panned out the right way, so I'm happy with that.
Absolutely, and what a huge performance from Luke Basumbu. 35 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds to go with it. What do you have to say about his performance?
He can control the game. When he controls the game, we're normally at the end of it winning. So, fantastic performance by him. Fantastic.
And of course, you have a few travelling fans as well. What's your message to the guys that are willing to come all this way to come and celebrate your team?
We've got some great fans. They come every week. It's brilliant. Hopefully they continue through the playoff run as well, and hopefully we can go deep. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Coach Ross Norfolk, congratulations on the result. Always a pleasure. Guys, that will be it for our interviews and our stream today. Very, very happy Mother's Day to all you wonderful ladies out there. We appreciate all you do for the many children we have playing, of course, for us as well. Thank you very much for all you've done, and good night.